Hello, I want to welcome you all back to the podcast of how to play the game of college, y'all. We are still in season 3, part 2. Y'all shows mad love to part 1. And so I was like, let me continue this season with a great lineup of guests. So today, you all, I'm so excited about the guest that we have on the show today. Mr. Marlon Ross, what's good, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me. Thank you for
No,
having
thank you for being here. Thank you for being here and taking the time out to be on the podcast. Man, we're going to jump right into it.
All right, let's do.
So if you can, yes, man, tell us, who is Marlon Ross? What do you do on a day-to-day basis when we think about work?
Hi, everybody. My name is Marlon Ross. I work for Pure Power Foundation. I served in two roles. I'm the director of workforce development as well as a program director. And so,
Okay.
Pure Power, we hire, train, and deploy high performing college students into local public high schools. And so, what that looks like, you'll have a high performing college student actually inside of a classroom during the school day, inside of an English 1 class, an Algebra 1 class with the teacher assisting students. And so I oversee the programming that happens at individual schools. So currently, right now, I'm the program director at Mace High School. I have a team of 34 success coaches. So I oversee 34 success coaches during the day. And then I'm also the director of workforce development, where I have created a holistic workforce development program that specifically aims and targets young Black and brown students who typically get left behind in high school.
Yeah.
I spent 7 years as a high school teacher, all 7 years in low income areas in South Memphis. And so
Mhm.
38126, 38106, some of the zip codes with the highest poverty rates in the state of Tennessee. And so a lot of those students get left behind. So we've created a workforce development program
Okay.
that provides all of the wraparound supports that students need to help them get to the next level, specifically with those students that do not want to go to college.
Okay. Okay. Man, you said a lot of great things when you open up. So later, I want to ask a few more questions about the workforce piece. I think in 2025, that's just a great option for so many students. And of course, in the book, we talk about college fit, right? And making sure that our students are set up for success. And I feel like number one is finding the right college fit. So we'll definitely talk more about the workforce piece. Mr. Ross, man, I know you from back in the day, man. When I started at the University of Memphis, I guess, man, back in 2010, 2009, 2008. And I knew you as a student then, man. And I remember you, of course, was it Craigmont or Raleigh, Egypt? Craigmont. Okay. Man, good memory. Good memory. Month. And of course, on this season, we actually have the principal of Credit Month, Dr. King. He's going to also be on this season and just giving a lot of great advice for students and parents. But walk us down memory lane, right? We see you as Mr. Ross now, program director, Pure Power. You've been a teacher. As I just mentioned, you came from Credit Month, from the city of Memphis. Kind of walk us how you got to this point.
Man, yeah, well, in high school, so I attended Craigmore High School.
Yeah, yeah.
For those who are not familiar with Craigmore High School, in the years that I was there, um, Craigmore was a pretty rough place.
Yeah.
We were known for some not so great things, and so I was able to matriculate through Craigmont. I did not really wanna go to college. I only went to
Okay.
college because that was something my mama wanted me to do, and so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was big mama's boy, wanted to make mama proud, and so
Yeah.
go to college, don't have a plan. I never really saw myself even graduating from college. It was just something I was doing to make my mama happy. And so get to college and, you know, things really shifted for me. I tried some new things that I had never tried before. I remember going to student orientation at the University of Memphis, and my mama signed me up for frosh camp. And
Mm, mhm.
I remember seeing the PowerPoint presentation, the video for Frosh Camp, and honestly, quite frankly, I was just like, "There's no way I'm going to this. This don't look like it's for me." Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And my mama was like, "No, you going." And so I was like, "Fine, I'll go." I remember going to Frosh Camp, and the truth is, I actually got off the bus with Frosh Camp. I used to have a grill, and so I get off the bus at Frosh Camp with a grill in my mouth, and Tim Jordan, who is, still a brother, a mentor to me to the
Yeah, yeah.
Tim pulled me to the
Great
side
guy.
and just like, "Hey, let me can you let me ask you to do something for me. He asked me to take my grill out. And so I was like, okay, got you, and went to Frosh Camp, no cell phone service for 3 days, and
Yeah,
found
yeah.
everything like a completely new person. So
Man, yeah.
get to the University of Memphis, meet extraordinary people like you, Sean. And one, Sean, let me just give you your flowers now, because I would not be in the position that I am in my career if it were not for you in
I appreciate it.
2009 giving me the opportunity to be a math academy guide. And
Thank
so,
you so much. Appreciate that.
so that launched my career into education back in 2009, and I've been working with young people since 2009 because of the opportunity that you gave me.
Man, you said so much there, right? And of course, we have students and parents that will be listening to this podcast. And I like how you said, hey, I didn't see myself, going to college, but I had a mom who pretty much volunteered me that I was going right. And again, wanted to make proud. Rest in peace. I know it's how long has it been since your mom?
It'll be 15 years this year.
Years, yeah, man. It seemed like it was just yesterday. And so, again, so many students think like, hey, this is not for me. But it seemed like you took that, that courage, that faith walk and said, hey, I'm gonna do it. And I just remember, man, you just like getting there, like you said, with the grill and man, getting involved with Math Academy, pledging a fraternity. The list just goes on and on. And really a lot of students saw you as that big brother, as you just mentioned with Tim Jordan. And also a lot of our high school students who we work with in Math Academy really came to U of M for, students like you and so many other of our college students who really like showed them that mentorship, right? So that leads me to my third question. I know you do a lot of work. I know Peer Power does like the tutoring model, right, in the high schools, but I think even bigger, the mentorship that comes along with that. How important do you feel? I know you just kind of said a little bit of that. How important do you feel mentorship is to students when they're thinking about pursuing a post-secondary credential?
Oh, it's essential. It is absolutely essential. I think back to my own journey, right? Where even going to college, nobody in my house went to college. So there was something that
Mhm.
they could actually talk to me about,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
to really prepare me for, and I did not have a mentor. And so that was one of the things with going to college and connecting with older people who had been there for some time, some who would like you yourself, who was already a professional, who could give me some guidance. And so mentorship is absolutely essential. I see it every day in the work that I do. Our young people need mentorship, and it's just an amazing thing when they have
yeah,
mentors, because I have seen the difference that mentorship makes in these young people's lives. And we're talking in whether it's academically,
yeah.
personal lives, just wherever they need people who have been there, who have done these things, who can relate to them to help guide them through these things.
Man, you said so much there. What about folks who want to help? I know that's usually the question when we think about the city of Memphis. And, we have parents, we have community partners, and they're saying, I want to help our youth, right? But I don't know where to start. What would you recommend for, just a mom and pop that's living in South Memphis and they're seeing, students who are walking by daily, going to high school, and they like, I want to help, but I don't know if I'm gonna say the wrong thing, or I don't know if they will listen to me. What recommendation would you give to folks who just want to help?
So I have quite a few recommendations for that.
Okay.
One, for parents, get involved in your school. Like, get
Mm-hmm.
involved at the school. I have seen schools where parental involvement is extremely high, and those schools look very different. They have different
Okay.
programming, different the teachers in the building even look different and act different when there is high parental involvement. Because I remember when I was a teacher, where
Yeah.
when parents were extremely, extremely involved in their students' education,
Hmm. Hmm.
that holds the teacher to another level of accountability. And so,
Right.
parents,
So true.
get extremely involved in your school. Go up there and ask questions, ask questions. Go sit inside your classroom. Teachers welcome those type of things. They really do. Also within the community, there are tons of organizations in the city of Memphis that
Yeah.
are doing real work, that are
Okay.
really doing great, great work. And
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
one way you can support, you can donate. You can donate to those organizations. If
Mhm.
if you may not have the money to donate, you can definitely volunteer. I know
Yeah.
we do a lot of events, and we would love, parents to come in and volunteer to help us host a FAFSA night or host summer camp that we do, just coming in and being able to speak with students, and so there are tons of organizations around this city that are doing amazing work, Streets Ministries, that
Yeah.
tons of organizations.
So true, so true, and I like how you said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? And I
Absolutely.
think so many times people think their way like, "Hey, I gotta come up with what I need to do. I gotta do it alone." But like you said, it's a lot of organizations here in Memphis who are already doing the work, and so if it's volunteering time, if it's money, resources, there's so many ways that you can help our youth here in Memphis, and even on a national basis. So definitely appreciate you calling it out. So as we talked about earlier, I know you mentioned, a workforce piece, which is huge. I know, even looking back, a lot of times students had maybe one or two options. It was like you go to a 4-year college, like even going to community college back in the day, they called it a junior college, right? It was like you couldn't really get into the 4 years, so you went to the junior college. But now, 2025, you got certificates, you got TCAS, technical schools, you have 2-year, you have 4-year, the list just goes on and on. When you're talking to these students, especially the students that are in your workforce program, what's that conversation like? Like, how did you identify those students to say, hey, or if they said, hey, the traditional college route is not for me, so I do want to try this path that you're talking about. Walk us through that.
So when I first started this workforce journey in 2023, I remember going and standing in front of hundreds of students, trying to get them to take a chance on this program that we were starting. And so, and a lot of times it starts with I just have a conversation with a student. Hey, a lot of times it will be seniors or juniors. Hey, what's your plan for when you graduate from high school?
Okay.
And a lot of them would usually say, either I don't have a plan or I'm just going to work, or as soon as I
Okay.
graduate, I'm going to give me a job. Cool.
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of job? What do you want to do? And so that's when they were like, I don't know, just a job. And so with this workforce development program that we've started, one, we've been very intentional about meeting the needs of the individual students. And so things that a lot of schools that I'm finding out don't necessarily do, like interest
Mm,
assessments, career aptitude assessments that really go in depth and really show the students what their strengths are and align like,
okay.
"Hey, you're good at this. Your career
Yeah. Yeah.
probably think of a career in this." And so getting those students, and one, you have to find something to really entice these students with something,
That's
because
true. Yeah.
there are not many workforce development programs out here. And so when you come to them talking about a workforce development program, they like, man, what is that? And so it has to be something that is interesting in them. And when I step to them, I have to be able to relate to them in some form or fashion. And so I was able to do that. And so a lot of the conversation is around, let me help you. Let's create a
Okay.
plan. What do you see for yourself 5, 10 years down the line? And if you can't think that far down the line, that's fine. Let me help you. Let me help you get there.
Okay. Okay. And I love how you said, our school counselors do an amazing job. But, the average classroom size for seniors could be, if you look in some of our centrals or white stations, it could be easily 500 students, right? And so it's usually only one person. Maybe they'll get lucky and get a graduation coach, it just depends. But, a lot of times they can't have the conversation with every student that they serve, right? What's a piece of advice? I mean, we have, of course, the peer power, but even with you all, it could be limited, resources and people. And of course, you're not in every school here in Memphis. If a student is looking to have the conversation, do you have any other recommendations if they don't have the peer power, if they don't have the counselor who that they don't fall in the top 10%, right? What would you say to that student? How can they have that conversation?
So every school should have a CCT teacher. All right. So
Okay.
a college career and technical education teacher. And so I would start there inside the building. I would most certainly start there. Every school that I've been inside, they do have some type of dual enrollment program. But the CCTE teacher, for those, especially for those students that do not want to go to college, I would definitely start with the CCTE teacher and make that connection.
Okay.
You know, hey, I'm interested, or I'm thinking about doing this, and maybe there's a CCTE program at the school, or that could be available for that student through their school. I would connect with that CCTE teacher first. Outside of that, to be completely transparent and honest with you, don't really know because they're like
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
schools that I have gone into that do not have CCTE teachers or programs, there are no resources. They don't have access. There's no knowledge
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
these things, and
Right.
and so that's a real big.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And I think it goes back to the former thing that you just said. That's why it's so important for folks to really get involved. And I think a lot of times we think like, oh, we don't have a student that's in high school, or, hey, my son, is in the workforce now. He graduated from high school 10 years ago. But you live in a neighborhood, right, that you can say, hey, I can volunteer at least 2 hours a month where I could just come and talk, as you just said, have the conversation and maybe tell them about my journey, like you're doing today, Mr. Ross, or this is the type of job I got, or these are the obstacles I had to overcome. So I think again, just having that extra layer of support would be super, super helpful for our students. So definitely appreciate you calling it out. I just mentioned obstacles, right? Many of our students, and I've been in the higher ed space 2 decades, man, a long time. You see the gray hair, man, a long time, right? And so many times we see students who deal with so many obstacles. Number one, to get to college is half the battle, right? But staying in college is another thing, right? And now we look at students. I know when I worked at the University of Memphis, Marlon, students will at least stay 1 year, like one full year, right? Now, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they don't even see, November or December when they get there in the fall. What are some of the common obstacles that you see students that you maybe work with, or even yourself, man, when you look back, that you face, and what kept you, getting back up, man, and graduating and going into the workforce? Can you talk about some of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. In my work with students, with high school students, what I typically see with a lot of students, especially those who have these grand plans, they want to go off to schools far away from home and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. From a lot of those that go away from home, who end up having to come back, like literally don't last a semester. A lot
Okay.
of that we see that I've seen is due to a lack of resources and one,
Mm,
just a lack of knowledge. I do think inside of high schools, there need to be real conversations had with students of truly selecting schools that fits that truly fit them and what their needs are. You know,
mhm.
cool. You may have gotten into a University of North Carolina
Oh,
or
yeah.
for those big time schools, but financially, the being away from home, being that far from home, being able to get back home and do things like that, we've seen that that's a real barrier for some
Mm,
students. Well, I've literally
okay.
seen students go far away and have to end up coming back because home life, things that have happened at home has had to drag them back home, not being able to really release themselves and be able to go and
Right.
be a student and not have to worry about certain things. But for me personally, I'm from Memphis, went to the University of Memphis, and I actually lived on campus. The best thing that I ever did, being a person from Memphis, going to University of Memphis, is I immersed myself completely into the University of Memphis.
Yes. Yes.
Stayed on campus. I remember my mom used to call me. She would say, "I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. Why haven't I seen you?" And I would say, "Hey, mom, if I was in Knoxville, it'd be the same thing.
Right. So
You could,
true. So
it's the
true.
same exact thing. So let's treat this as if
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
500 miles away, even though I'm 15 minutes away, right?" And so
Right.
so that was one of the things that really benefited me. And quite frankly, a lot of people from Memphis that I met who grew up in Memphis, went to the University of Memphis, I have seen a different level of success for those
Uh-huh.
who really immerse themselves
So
into.
true.
I'm not staying at home,
Right.
right? No, I'm
Right.
not staying at home. Nope, I'm living on campus. Imma live in this small dorm. Imma get the
Mhm.
full experience, the full college experience right here in Memphis, even though I'm from Memphis.
So true. So true. And like you said, man, just being engaged, which I have a whole chapter in the book, man, about engagement. I love how you saying, just, connected you with so many people, man. You develop skills that really, I'm sure, helps you to this day, right?
Absolutely.
Of dealing with the students you work with and community partners, man. So definitely appreciate you calling it out as well. Marlon, we are at the end, man. Can you believe it? We need a part
That
two
went
for
fast.
real.
That went fast.
Yes, yes. So I guess as we close out, a good question for you all. I feel like for you, you've covered so many great topics. The value of education, right? And even me working when you were there, Marlon, it was kind of, the thing to do to go to college. It was a pathway for you to reach the next level. Now in 2025, the community, we have students, we have Facebook, we have IG, everybody's a content creator, Facebook professor, right? And so they like, hey, I ain't gotta go to college. I could learn this on YouTube. You know, I want to make the money now. I want to make the money now, right? What piece of advice would you give to students? And I really want you to hone in on Black males, man. We are in a time where in the state of Tennessee, Black males are going to college 20% lower than their white male counterpart, man. So it's not many Black males in college, right? And so what would you tell the Black male that you're working with now to say, hey, it's okay to have, delayed gratification and do something around post-secondary. What would that advice be to that student?
That is my advice. That's a great question too. And as I reflect on that, one of I live my life by is anything worth having is worth working hard for. Well,
Mm,
in true success that can be sustained over a long period of time, it does not come overnight. It does not.
man, so true.
You
So
know,
true.
am I working with specifically young Black men? A lot of them goal planning and like that is something that they have never heard of. That's something
Yeah.
I've never heard of. And now even in my life, I plan things out now. One,
Yeah.
it just allows me to see my progress. It keeps me focused as I work with specifically young Black men. It's all about staying focused and one,
Mhm.
providing them with the support. One thing I like to tell everybody is what good is a community if we don't use it?
So true.
What
So true.
and so it's about providing them a plethora of resources, but also showing them that it is okay to call on someone for help. No one
So
is
true.
self-made. There's no such
So
thing as
true.
being self-made.
Yes.
But so,
Yes.
Dr. Sean Boyd did not get here by himself. You know,
Man.
I did not get here, as I stated, I got here with the help of you, Sean, and other countless people just like you who poured into me and who helped me. And so for my young Black men, you can do this. I'm
Man.
a living
Yes.
witness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do this.
Man.
It took me 6 years to graduate college. It took me 6 years to graduate college. I had to learn a lot of ups and downs. My mom,
Yeah.
when I was in college, a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
happened, but there's something to be said about perseverance and to
Man.
able to endure hard times, but it takes community, it takes hard work, and what I just wanna say to not just young Black men, but
Yeah.
everybody, you all
Yeah.
can do this. You can do this.
Man, I could just drop the mic right there, Marlon. Seriously, man. All that you said, man, ask for help, man. And even Dr. Derek King from Credmont, he used a term called productive struggle.
Trouble, absolutely.
Productive struggle. So we don't want you to just out here struggle, you the poorest person, right? Like get something out of the struggle, right? So I love how you said, hey, I left from home. There was times where, I had $10 for the week in my pocket in college, man.
That's
There was
part of the experience, getting a
yeah.
both college student, that's part of the experience.
It showed you how to appreciate, it shows you how to budget. So I couldn't go and eat, Applebee's, man, back in the day because I know they was gonna take my whole $10. But I couldn't call mom and say, hey, I need more money because she didn't have it. Single parent, right?
And
Yeah.
Sean, I want to say
Yeah.
one last thing for
Yeah.
especially for students. Failure is inevitable.
Yeah.
It is
Yes.
failure has been the best teacher that I
Uh,
ever had.
man.
When I've been able to really look at what well and what went wrong and
So
learn,
true.
we are all going to fail. Nobody goes through life without failing.
Man.
It's okay that you don't know something. That
So true.
Hey, it's okay. And so a lot of students are afraid to say, "I don't know." It's okay,
Mhm.
but, we gotta do the work so we can
Right.
understand and gain that knowledge, but it's okay not to know. I'm 35 years old. I promise you I'm learning on the job. As a father and, like, I'm learning on the job.
So true, so true. 35, man.
35.
I think I met you were probably, what, 18? See,
18, 18.
crazy. Well, man, I want to say I know you gave me my flowers earlier, man, but in turn to you, and I tell you all the time, but super proud of you, man. I just mentioned, I think I met you at 18, crib month. I remember you coming into the campus, man. And I think the best part, man, of my life, man, and when you pursue your purpose and your passion and your assignment, man, to God, is that students like you, man, like I kept up with 20 years, 25 years later. And man, to see you with your family, man, the work that you're doing with students here in Memphis and just all over the country. And man, this is just the beginning, man. So again, hats off to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for taking time, man, to come on the podcast. I know it's going to help so many students and parents, community as well, just by listening to all the great things that you said today, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
No, thank you, and
Yes.
appreciate you. Continue giving the game of college because
That
it's this.
appreciate that. Yes, yes, yes. To the guests, make sure that you like, share, comment under this video. Mr. Ross will be watching those comments and he's going to reply. I already know. And so, of course, catch us at the same time every Wednesday with another great guest. Season 3, part 2, y'all. We are killing it, y'all. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Thank you.